Groundhog time.
1,000 people freezing their butts off waiting to worship a rat.
Weatherman Phil Connors is spending the day in Puxatawney, Pennsylvania.
Phil? Ned! Ned Ryerson. I did the whistling belly button trick at the high school talent show.
Bing!
Bing!
But Phil's about to find out he's not just stuck in Puxatawney.
Will you be checking out today, Mr. Connors?
Chance of departure today, 100%.
He's stuck
Groundhog Day!
in Groundhog Day.
I'm reliving the same day over and over.
Phil?
Ned Ryerson?
Bing!
Do you ever have deja vu, Mrs. Lancaster?
I don't think so, but I could check with the kitchen.
Well, it's Groundhog Day. Again?
At first, he was a little anxious.
Phil? What?
Will you be checking out today, Mr. Connors?
I'd say the chance of departure is 80%.
But now,
We could do whatever we want.
he's discovering the possibilities
Don't you worry about cholesterol?
Why?
and living life like there's no tomorrow.
Phil Connors!
Ned!
Because there isn't.
I am an immortal. I have been stabbed, shot, burned, frozen, electrocuted. I'm a god.
You're God.
I'm a god. I'm not the god. He's out of his gourd.
But to get what his heart wants most
What are you looking for, Phil? A date for the weekend?
means living this day over again till he gets it right.
Believe it or not, I studied 19th century French poetry.
What a waste of time.
I studied 19th century French poetry.
La fille qui j'aimerais.
You speak French.
Oui.
Bill Murray, Andy McDowell,
To the groundhog.
I always drink to world peace. Well, what should we drink to?
I like to say a prayer and drink to world peace. Don't drive angry. Don't drive angry. He might be okay.
Yes! Groundhog Day!
Life has a funny way of repeating itself.
What did you do today?
Oh, same old, same old.
Welcome to the latest episode of the B Movie Club. I'm your host, Kevin. This week we'll be discussing the 1993 comedy classic, Groundhog Day, starring Bill Murray, Andy McDowell, Chris Elliott. It's an all-star cast. For those of you joining us for the first time, each week on the B Movie Club, I discuss certain guilty pleasures and forgotten classics of the past. Don't forget to go to our page on Facebook, Original B Movie Club, and give us the big thumbs up. Go to our page on YouTube at KD9575 and subscribe. It's totally free. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at the B Movie Club. Groundhog Day. In this classic, Phil Connors is a disgruntled weatherman. He is going to Puxatawney, Pennsylvania for their annual Groundhog Day celebration, where they have this big performance and they pull out a groundhog and blah, 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 blah. Frankly, what is a groundhog? I couldn't pick a groundhog out of a lineup. Is it like a squirrel? Is that what it is? But it lives in the ground? It's neither here nor there. A beaver? Who knows? Anyway, so he goes there. He doesn't appreciate it. Along the way, he meets his new producer. She's very nice and cheery and bright. Obviously, the total opposite of Phil. So there you have it. Good times. So he experiences it. He's disgruntled. Goes to bed. Wakes up the next morning, and he's forced to relive the same day over and over and over again. Nobody knows why. He can't explain it. Okay, he has to do the same things over and over again. Throughout the film, he goes through these different waves where he's first like, hey, I'm just going to use this power or whatever it is, the situation, to my own greedy ends. I'm going to steal money. I'm going to seduce the ladies. I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to eat whatever food I want because it doesn't really matter. Until he finally goes through like despair of like, oh man, I'm just going to drive off a cliff, or I'm going to just, you know, I'm going to be very reckless with my life, essentially. Goes through that to eventually, you know, over the course of the film, he starts like, you know what, I'm going to become more altruistic. I'm going to do good things. I'm going to make a positive influence on my society. I don't want to spoil everything. I don't want to give away all the wacky misadventures of Phil. You got to check it out for your own. Okay? Originally, the script was written where it takes place in the middle of the action. Like, there's no setup of a weatherman doing X, Y, and Z. It just starts with, here's this guy reliving this Groundhog Day over and over and over again, and there's no explanation as to what's going on. He does meet Rita, the beautiful producer, and the twist of the original script was that he does all that he's supposed to do, he becomes a nicer person, but then they wake up and now it's Rita is trapped in her own little reoccurring moment that goes on and on. So that's kind of the twist. They junked all that. They said, you know, we got to have some kind of leading action to kick it off, and they did all that good stuff. Directed by Harold Ramis. Remember him? He was Egon Spengler from the Ghostbusters movies. He also directed a truckload of things that I know you've seen 1,000 times, obviously. Harold Ramis and Bill Murray had worked together 1,000,000 times. Stripes, for example. Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters 2. Okay? So they're working together, but evidently over the course of this film, their relationship got very strained. Bill Murray is kind of cantankerous in general, and it's kind of hard to work with and demanding. So over the course of filming this, there was kind of a fracture, and they actually didn't, you know, they weren't friends for 10 years after making this movie. It's very upsetting. You know, there was questions as to what direction the plot was supposed to go towards. You know, evidently in the script there were supposed to be periods where the Phil Connors character gets really dark, where he's like committing murders and torture, but they're like, this is supposed to be a light comedy, let's get rid of all that craziness. So they junked all that good stuff. But what's interesting is that at the end of the movie, there was this big blow-up. The final scene they were going to shoot, which is Phil waking up on that last day, right? And Bill Murray was like, I'm not going to shoot this scene until I know why I'm wearing the clothes I'm wearing. Like, what I'm wearing and why I'm wearing it. Am I wearing PJs? Am I wearing the clothes that I wore the night before? What am I doing? And Harold Ramis evidently hadn't considered this. That's what we call good directing, I guess. So he actually had a vote of all the crew members and the cast. What do you guys think he should be wearing? And finally, a second assistant director raised her hand, first movie she'd worked on, and said he should absolutely be wearing the clothes he wore from the night before. If he wakes up wearing his PJs, it'll ruin the movie. So that's what they went with. There you go. Good times. Yeah, by all. There's been some question as to how long he relived that same day. If you look at it and just count how many days are represented in the movie, it's really like 24 days. But Harold Ramis has said that the fact that he becomes an expert ice sculptor, he becomes an expert piano player, learns all these like skills, all these things, that more than likely it's more like 30 years. The original playwright said it was 1,000 years that he had to relive this single day. I don't know. I think you would have probably gone insane if you had to live that. He'd have been crazy at the end of the movie. I don't know. It's all very strange. What else can I tell you about this movie? Interestingly enough, Bill Murray actually had to get like rabies shots because he was actually bit by the crazy groundhog twice during the course of this filming. What is going on? That's ridiculous. What kind of crazed groundhog are they using for this movie? That great scene where Phil meets Ned Ryerson, the insurance salesman who's famous for his whistling belly button trick. If you go to that town, you will see plaques. You know, here's where Bill Murray meets Ned Ryerson. There's a plaque on the ground where Phil Connors keeps stepping into that puddle. Watch out for that first step. It's a doozy. There's a plaque there. They're very. There's a lot of plaques going on here. When this movie came out, it actually was a modest success. The critics thought, oh yeah, this is fun, this is good, blah, blah, blah. However, in the time that has passed, it's now become like considered one of the funniest movies of all time, one of the greatest films of the 90s, all sorts of things like that. One movie reviewer at the time said, "Oh yeah, it's fun, but it will never be inducted into the National Registry of Films by the Library of Congress." Ironically, that's exactly what happened. The Library of Congress chose this film to be of cultural significance. So there you go. Good times. Roger Ebert gave it 3 stars when it first came out. He said, "You know what? Oh, since then, with repeated viewings, I've actually come to appreciate it more," and all that good stuff. That's kind of how I feel about it. I think it's fun. I think it has funny parts in it that are really good. I don't think it's hilarious. I don't think it's fall out of your chair, laugh out loud. People love this movie. People love this movie. Whatever floats your boat. I think Bill Murray is great in this. I think there are plenty of other performances of Bill Murray's that are so excellent. I think he's great in Kingpin. I think he's great in, obviously, the Ghostbuster movies. But Groundhog Day's fun, too. It's whatever blows your skirt up. At one point, it was chosen as the greatest movie of 1993, which was ridiculous. This is the same year that, Schindler's List came out, The Piano, some of these other Academy and critically acclaimed movies. They're like, no, we'll go with Groundhog Day for that year. Okay. Whatever floats your boat. Good times. It currently has a 97% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Again, I thought it was good. I don't know if it's 97% worth of good, but I'll leave that to you. Moving away from the comedic stylings of Groundhog Day. We're going to be doing the science fiction, action, futuristic, space. There's aliens, there's monsters, there's armies and soldiers with machine guns and all sorts of good stuff. We're doing Starship Troopers, that classic film based upon the award-winning novel. So check it out. It's got something for everybody. Okay? Go ahead and send any favorite scenes, favorite quotes, or coats. You can send me a quote if you'd like. It's still winter, right? Well, I guess it's past Groundhog Day. Hey. Favorite quotes, favorite scenes, favorite quotes, comments and questions, anything else you'd like to get off your chest, and I might just talk about it on the show. Don't forget to go to our page on Facebook, Original B Movie Club. Give us the thumbs up. Go to our page on YouTube. Hit subscribe. It's totally free. And follow me on Twitter at the B Movie Club. As you know, I end every episode with a totally out of context quote. And here it is. This is one time where television really fails to capture the excitement of a large squirrel predicting the weather. There it is. Good times had by all. Next week, Starship Troopers. Check it out on Netflix. It is still streaming instantly along with Groundhog Day. Thank you for joining us, and be well.